Today we are going to be discussing 3 parts on a BMW that are pretty much guaranteed to fail at some point during the car's lifetime. Now, I know a lot of parts generally do just tend to fail for no reason on cars, and it can generally happen to any car, but with BMWs, these are parts that are pretty much guaranteed to go bad, and they often prematurely fail as well. Going into the very first part that is pretty much guaranteed to fail on your BMW is the water pump. The water pump obviously flushes coolant throughout the entire system, and on the E90 generation of BMWs, the water pump is actually electric. And I'm not sure about the F30s. I believe that some of the F30s have a mechanical water pump and then they have a dedicated backup electric pump. But on the E46 as well, it's a mechanical pump, but regardless, they tend to go out on your BMW. Some people get lucky and they don't have to replace it for upwards of 100,000 miles. Some people, the water pump will fail as early as like 30,000 miles, so it just really depends. Now, the water pumps that are electrically powered are the ones that tend to go out much more frequently than the mechanical ones. Like I said though, on the E90 generation, pretty much all of the water pumps built on these cars were electrically powered. They have plastic impellers, like the fins that actually flush the coolant are made of plastic. The motor is electric, and you know how BMWs and electrical parts work. Not a very good match. And generally, when the water pump goes out, you end up having to replace the thermostat as well, because either the thermostat fails with it, or just because it's a good idea to do it as a preventative maintenance thing, because you're going to have to take the thermostat out anyway when you replace the water pump. Getting straight into the second part that will fail on your BMW, that is going to be the valve cover gasket. Whether it is a E46 330i or a BMW 328i or a 335i, whatever it may be, generally, most commonly on the inline-6 motors, the valve cover gasket always goes bad. Now, a lot of gaskets tend to go bad on BMWs, a lot of like oil gaskets, like the oil cooler, oil filter housing, oil pan, that kind of stuff. But most commonly, it's going to be the valve cover gasket. Ways that you can tell is basically if you look around the valve cover area, around the engine, you can see leaking oil, you can see stains from burned oil that has seeped through the valve cover itself. In addition to that, when the car is driving, you can smell burning oil. That is probably the biggest telltale sign. When my car had a burning valve cover gasket, I could smell the burning oil. It was not a very pretty smell, trust me. And yes, the valve cover gasket is a very common fail point on these cars. Generally, I'd like to say that a safe bet is that a OEM gasket that is properly installed will last around 100,000 miles or so. Mine lasted about right around the 100,000 mile mark. That's when it started to go out. And finally, the third part that is pretty much guaranteed to fail on a BMW is going to be the engine itself. The engine will blow up, explode into a fire. No, I'm totally just kidding. The third part actually though that probably will fail on a BMW is going to be the Vanos solenoids. Now, the Vanos solenoids, pretty much from everybody that I've talked to, have at least replaced them or cleaned them out at least once before, because they will start causing a lot of issues. Sometimes your car can get a limp mode, sometimes it'll cause other things, and basically Vanos is like BMW's version of the variable valve timing, which kind of controls the power and efficiency of the motor itself. It's a lot more complicated than that, obviously, but I don't even know how to explain it properly, and I'm not going to attempt to. However, there are 2 solenoids in the front of the engine generally. On newer BMWs like the B58 motor, it's actually in the rear, so to access them you would have to pull the motor out, which is a lot of work. Fortunately for most of us though, they are in the very front and they are pretty easy to access. When those go out, you will have to replace them. You can also clean them. A lot of times they'll be gunked up with engine oil, and you can clean them out using like brake cleaner or a can of compressed air and just taking a towel, but really that's only going to merely prolong the life of the Vanos solenoids themselves. It's best to just purchase some OEM new ones. Don't buy the ones off of eBay, those are crap, and even if they do work, they're not going to last as long as an OEM one will. And from there, you install those and you'll be good to go. Anyway guys, that is going to do it for this video. Obviously there are a lot more potential issues depending on the specific model of a BMW, but generally with any BMW car, I'd say the water pump, the valve cover gasket, and the Vanos solenoids, those are 3 things that you can place a safe bet that will go out at some point in the car's lifetime. I'd say between 70 to 100,000 miles. For some people it happens prematurely, for some people it doesn't happen to like 150,000 miles, but nevertheless it's pretty much bound to happen. So be prepared for those. Fortunately, they're actually not that bad, especially for the water pump if you can do it yourself. I did it with my friend. I have a video of that, which I'll throw up right now on the screen. Anyway guys, if you did enjoy this video, be sure to click that subscribe button down below if you haven't already, and hit the bell notifications button so that you guys get notified whenever I do post a new video, because I make videos like this all the time. And in addition to that, be sure to give me a thumbs up on this video to help reach more viewers as well. Thank you guys so much. I love you all very much, and I will catch you all in the next video. Later guys.